Let's make a laundry hamper perfect for dorm rooms. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and today we are doing another dorm room series and we are going to be making a laundry hamper using this mesh material. Now you could also use cotton material. I'm using two layers. It's going to have like a lining and an exterior. I really wanted to use the rest of this mesh. So mine's about 40 by 48 inches, and then there's two pieces of that. So one for the lining, one for the outside. Basically just one very breathable fabric that you could have for those two layers. So that's why cotton could also work if you have that on hand. But now that we have this all cut out, what I'm going to do is just pin these up so that I get two separate pieces, so matching with right sides together on that fold. So this is actually one really big piece that's folded, and then I have one of these for the front and then one for the lining as well. So you can see here it's kind of like two separate ones. So I'm just matching it with right sides together on either side to basically create two large sacks, if you want to think of it that way. And then once I have it pinned up, I'm going to be sewing that side seam and the bottom seam for both the lining as well as the exterior. Now for this, I just used my walking foot and took a straight stitch. Now take one of your bags, whichever is going to be the outside bag, and we are going to be folding it in half along the top so you can figure out where like a good middle is. And then you're going to just be marking that. I'm going to use a quilting clip to mark it, but basically we are now going to be adding a buttonhole just to one layer. So for that one layer, this is where our drawstring is going to be coming in and out of. So I have this, so it's just one layer of the bag, and I am just going to be marking a buttonhole. Now for this, you don't need to worry about how far down it goes necessarily for, if we're trying to create a casing. So you can just have it be about an inch, inch and a half down. And then I'm using a buttonhole foot, so I have it all set up. The buttonhole is going to be about half of an inch wide or so. And then I'm just be taking that buttonhole. Now it worked on my mesh. If you notice that it seems like it's kind of ripping, you could definitely try some interfacing and stabilizer to help with your buttonhole. Now I'm just going to open the buttonhole, and I have the spot where my drawstring is going to go. I'm just going to do one, and it worked out fine, but if you want to add a second, you definitely could. Now with right sides together, I'm going to be matching the lining of the bag with the exterior of the bag around the top and just pinning that all the way up, being sure to leave about a 4-inch gap at one point for turning. Now for mine, it looks very similar on the inside as it does the outside. If you are using two separate fabrics though, be sure that you are matching these with right sides together. And then when I got near the end, I left that 4 to 5-inch gap so that I would be able to turn this right side out. So now it was the fun part of turning this right side out. There was so much fabric because this is a very large bag, but I just went through the process, very carefully pulled it. I would say be very careful. You don't want to rip any seams, so I just took my time. Once I got it all the way turned right side out though, around that top edge, I just used quilting clips to sort of hold in place where that edge is. You will see that at some point you will come up on that hole that we used to turn this right side out. I'm just going to be hand stitching that closed at a later portion, but you're just going to go around and clip all of this up so that you have the top all pointed out. So this is what mine looks like. You can see that I have those clips in place. So now I'm just going to be finding where about an inch and a half down from that edge is so that I can create a casing for my cording. So you can have this really be as ever large or small as you want. Just be sure wherever you put that buttonhole spot, your casing goes below that buttonhole. You don't want to sew through the buttonhole itself. So I'm just going to go through and sew all of this up now for the casing. So with that done, I can now go through and just sew up the top opening from where we had turned this right side out. Again, I'm just using a needle and thread. If you wanted to use your sewing machine, you definitely could do that as well. I just found it a little easier this way. So now the main portion of our hamper is complete, so all we need to do now is add in our cording. So I'm using this cotton cording. I find it works really nicely. It has a really soft touch, and then you can clean it really easily. So I just took a safety pin and I'm just pushing it through all the way around the top of our hamper. And then once it is through at the top, you're just going to push it through the other portion of that buttonhole, adjust as needed so it's nice and even all the way around. And then once you have it where you like it, I am going to be adding a cord lock to mine. I think that they just help keep things in place really nicely. For your cord lock though, be sure your cording can actually fit. So the first one I tried was actually too small. I also learned that I should have added tape along the edges of the cord so that it would go through. As you can see, this one started to fray horribly, and this is where I realized I'd made a mistake. So what I did is I got a bigger cord lock and then I was able to get this one through. Once you have it through, just knot off the edges so that it stays secure. And then I just cut these, but there are different ways that you can finish those off. So here is what the laundry hamper looks like. I think it actually looks really cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. The cord lock is great on it. It is large enough that you can hold a lot. I think I'll probably add a few little laundry items to this when I give this to my cousin for going away. You could also hang this on a door since it does have that nice big cord that is able to open and close, and it's able to very easily store your dirty laundry. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.